I've got the old Gibsonette back on the workbench, which came back to me a little bit brighter than the last time we saw it. Somebody apparently whitewashed it, apparently purchased it and made it brighter. Did some other stuff to it. Seems to have some issues. I'd found that one of the capacitors that I'd already bagged up had some mechanical fault to it that had formed, and in bending the capacitor, it was shorting together inside. It was pretty bad, and I removed this capacitor through a regular troubleshooting regimen and replaced it with another 500 picofarad capacitor, which I've placed in there and matched, almost identical to the 512 value that this one had. Put it in there and got it going, but this amplifier has outsmarted me. And another problem persists within this amplifier. I have a feeling that it's still in the input circuit and not between the 12AX7 and the finals. I could be wrong. What I have done at this point is set up a signal generator, which I've attenuated heavily. Brought it right to the input. I put a little piece of wire shielding there to take the input off of ground. And we're going to bring this amplifier up. And we're just going to do a little audible listen first, nothing crazy. We'll see what we got, something to work with, see if there's a smoking gun, and go from there. With this 800 hertz sine wave, 1/100th of a volt, heavily attenuated, I end up with a signal that's at least comfortable to work with, to at least, smack on some components and test all the way through to the finals. I'll demonstrate as I turn the volume all the way up. Full volume right there, and you can see it's really driven high because it's such a weak signal. And I can add some tone. See this full tone, no tone, full tone. That's a nice test signal to work with. So I'm going to go through and see what we got. I've lowered it for this video, but I've lowered the frequency to make it more tolerable, but I've driven the preamp stage a little bit harder. It is this green wire you see here to the right going to the 12AX7. And then I've gone around to the different components and also checked. I could go and test and look at signals, but I'm not finding a problem with the amp. What I did find a problem with, as seen earlier when we kind of looked at it briefly, was how the cable was connecting into the jack, and I'm wondering if that's what the issue was. I'm having trouble reproducing this condition, so I'm letting this amplifier heat up and see if this problem could be repeated again. And that's always the best thing you can do with issues like these is drive it. But I mean, obviously you're gonna have to drive it appropriately. I could disconnect all this and put it into a heatsink, or I could sit here and tolerate whatever noise I'm willing to dole out. I'd much rather do it at 200 hertz than 1200 hertz, that's for sure. So I could drive the preamp tube a little bit hotter, drive the outputs, obviously not the issue. I'm not feeling that. So this circuitry here is what we're looking at. After enough tests, I was confident with the results. I went and plugged in the jack and went with the guitar again. I spoke to my contact and found out that if we could get a good grouping of some A chords at full volume all the way up, and not have the thing cut out and not distort, then we could say that we've probably eliminated this issue. That was enough for me to go by. I went into both jacks and did that. I'm not going to do that for this video. It sounds absolutely terrible in this room. It's not designed for something like this. But it was enough to let me know that this is where the problem was. There wasn't an issue with that. There was obviously this existing issue here with this capacitor. So, chasing two issues at once is always a problem, especially when in chasing one issue, you're using this method where we're using a signal generator, to make sure that issue is gone. And in using the signal generator, we're not seeing that we're having the secondary issue here. These things do happen. But now we've got both of them. Looks like the amp is sounding good again. So we'll put this cover back on and we'll send it back up and hopefully not see it again for a while. So yeah, I'll miss it, but you know, when I see them, they're broken, so that's not a good thing. So, of course, I had to test the old 500 picofarad capacitor on the Genrad because it wouldn't be a complete movie without it. This is interesting, right? So, there's no disappointment factor associated with this thing. That's to be expected. But this is weird. This is the untunable capacitor because this capacitor is broken. You know, and we could get it if I get it just right and tap on it, bend it, and oh, there, nope, there it was. And this is a broken capacitor, so if I could twist it just the right way and then dial it in, you might notice that there you go, it's ideal. So this is the capacitor in the running condition in the guitar. Now look at it. I'm not touching anything. And the capacitor is slowly working its way out of tune. Can't make this stuff up. Not touching any dials. Broken capacitor. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. I guess I could tap it or something. Do something here, wiggle it or bend it. There you go, I'll bend it or something. There you go, capacitor is fixed. So when you go into things like this, and you go and you bend and you wiggle and you stuff, and you run around with the nylon picks, and things clear up, and you're doing stuff like that, you know, electrically you're doing stuff like this. You're bringing stuff back where they belong, at least temporarily, to isolate those problems. But you get to see that, you know, electrically. There, get back there, get back there. So, and then we can reevaluate. It's level. You know, I don't imagine it. As far as this capacitance, is not going to change that much, but it just either it's there or it's nothing. You know, it's just open or shorted or whatever. You know, it's obviously it's not. See, there it is, balanced, and then there it is, gone. So yeah, that's the original capacitor that had failed, and now you get to see from there it is. I've never seen that before, so it's like a slow walk to infinity. But yeah, there you go. Very cool. Thanks for watching again.